We had a week off last week. Reason being is we had some personal stuff to do with our eldest child, our daughter.
No,
Not
not coming off of me until Sunday night.
Okay, I guess she has plans. I was unaware of that. But this show, we've got 3 topics. First one, we'll jump right into it. And I think kind of the interesting thing about this is that I think both of us kind of had non-traditional childhoods. Yeah. Easiest way of putting it. Yeah. You kind of ping-ponged around as a kid. I ping-ponged around as a kid. Whereas our children have grown up with these very just kind of, staid, consistent lives.
We said we were planting roots.
Yeah, very much so.
And we did.
Very much so. So much so that clearly we're Virginians, but our daughters had actually, our eldest particularly, has had this very Virginia experience. She's been a Senate page in Richmond, which is a very kind of prestigious position for 14-year-olds. I guess you can be 13 and 14, where they serve at the direction, in this case for her, at the state senators for the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's, what, a 6-week program? Was it 8 weeks?
Well, it depends. In Virginia, we have 2 different sessions. So we have a short session and we have a long session.
Okay.
So the short session is probably close to 5. The long session can be close to 8 weeks. They leave home. They get their schoolwork up there, etc.
Yep.
So
she's done that. So she's had kind of these very interesting and poignant, I don't know, experiences is the only way that I can describe it, that really embed her in the cultural and historical features of the Commonwealth here. And this has been continued for her. She went to a military school in the Shenandoah Valley and is now...
The school there is in the statutes that if what is it? If war is declared or something, if the militia is called up, the students of this high school, this military high school, will also be called up to be leaders, if I remember reading it correctly.
Yes.
So very Virginia kind of high school, and
very much so. And now she's going to VMI, which is the Virginia Military Institute. And so we were off last week.
Oldest military college, isn't it? I believe so.
I don't know.
I believe so. I believe it's the oldest private. So it's not an academy.
It's not an academy.
Actually a college.
I think West Point's probably older.
But that's an academy.
Sure. But I think as far as
a private military college.
Well, it wasn't per se private. I think it was the
Well, that's
Commonwealth
true.
of Virginia.
It's public, but it's not an academy. So whatever that word is,
a military institute,
where you still have to pay for it.
You mean
but
higher
it's a
education?
College.
So what we thought would be interesting to do, and it was one of those things that you hear a lot about it, not only share our experience of having our daughter matriculate, which is the term that is used
when they're starting, instead of being the graduation term. When they start, they sign a book that has been signed by...
God, Lord.
Okay, just
give it all away.
Well, matriculation, I thought, well, what does that mean? That means you've graduated. No, at VMI, it means
you
your start.
Yes, but it's a very particular experience, which we're going to go through. Goodness.
See my cup? See my cup? See my lovely cup my husband got me? It's a beautiful, beautiful beverage.
Yeah, no, I will admit, though, this beverage came at a price. It was make me a latte before the show or you don't get fed.
Oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. It was, if I make you a fresh caprese, would you make me a latte? Well, the negotiator in him comes out, why don't you make me the caprese first, and I'll probably get to your latte.
Which I did.
I did. So.
But needless to say. So regardless, part of the, I guess, emphasis with this segment is to not only kind of share our experience, which was very unique. Neither of us have ever been exposed to the VMI culture and norms and history in the way that we were by going through the matriculation process. But then also additionally, for those parents who have a child who's either interested in going or someone who's maybe been accepted or deferred or anything, but is serious about going to VMI, I think it's nice to kind of get a perspective from somebody who's fresh off the experience, what we learned, what we understood.
No history going in,
we just kind of
just
worked our way through the day, sweated a ton, and we weren't even the ones matriculating. So we'll go through it, but it is one of those interesting experiences that definitely is fun to recount, but for people who are interested in kind of having a sense as to what to expect and how to prepare for it, I think this will be constructive.
This was our experience.
Yes,
All right.
yes. So matriculation at VMI, it is a kind of very traditional experience, and most everything dealing with VMI is steeped in history and traditions that go back 150 plus years now. So not hundreds.
Well, a long time.
There'll be a picture that says when the
Okay.
school was constituted, right? I think so. Yeah.
Not that I produced. Did you?
I think so. We'll get to it. No, that's just the class.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get an entry. At the entry of VMI, there's a year that the school was founded. Okay. We're just terrible at this stuff.
We are. Okay, well, let's just get into it.
Okay.
Let's roll it.
This first picture, to kind of give you a sense, this is our eldest child. And here she is at the, what's this building? What was this one called?
Oh, gosh. Don't recall any of the
I don't recall.
names.
It's the
main building, the main area where they have most of their gatherings. It's where they had the big gym field and all the bleachers, etc.
Yeah. So this is her out front of it. It's kind of a fun thing, and at a minimum for her, there's a lot of excitement at this moment because not only is she starting at school, but more importantly for her, it's just that raw anticipation of what is about to go on because she was able to do the summer program. And in doing the summer program, she was able to, look at I threw us up there. Isn't that cool?
Okay.
She was able to get exposed to the layout of the school. She actually took a course there. And during the process, she hears a lot of things. She talks to some of the other kids that are there on campus. And I say kids, they have actually a very diverse range of students, prior military, folks who maybe had gone to other schools but are very interested in going to VMI. So there's a broad range of students. She, though, is kind of interesting because she's 17 and a half.
Yeah.
She graduated.
She's not even 17 and a half. She's a little bit before that.
Okay. So she's a young person going to this school. And so she's got just kind of the teenage, giddiness about her, but then also that just core commitment that this is something that she wanted for herself, was adamant about it. And, everybody worked very diligently, inclusive of her, necessarily her, to see this through. So this...
She just looked at this as her opportunity to become a better person, to become a bigger person, to become a stronger person. And that's what she looked at this as. And it is that. It is definitely that. If you can make it through, that is what it is. So I kind of want to tease, the part of the angst is because the first 8 days after they officially matriculate in are what's known as Hell Week. And we'll show you some pictures, but
we'll get to that.
I can understand why was nervous about it. Go Google VMI matriculation, and there are YouTube videos of it and how shocking and jarring it can be.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay,
This though is the group of guys, predominantly, obviously.
Yeah, she's one of 66 girls out of 496 matriculants. So there's not very many girls. It's a
true
good ratio.
This is some of the friends she made though during the summer program. What do they call it? Summer.
I want to say VSP, but I don't think that's it.
Yeah, it's
Summer
regardless.
program.
They have a distinct summer program. It's been a long day, to say the least. But regardless, the summer program is an opportunity for, as I described, the kids to get exposed. These are some of the friends that she made there who are other students that participated in the summer program and were there at matriculation with her. This is kind of the meet and greet phase where you meet other parents and
all the
hang
boys
out.
still have their hair.
Yes, you'll see what happens to those locks of hair afterwards. But the point being is that, you know, she makes good friends, and that's one thing about VMI that is very clear. You make friends there not just for college. People are making friends there for life.
They call each other brother rats. That the process that they go through, they are not even cadets for quite a period of time. They've got to get through Hell Week, and then they've got to get through the whole rat stage. They call them a rat when they first get there.
For about the first 7 months.
Until they break out. And this group of upperclassmen who are their leaders is known as the cadre. And they determine when and if that class of rats is ready to break out. So breakout can be in February, it can be in March. And I've heard tell there was one class that never made it to breakout. I have no idea how that plays out the next year.
Yeah, I can't imagine. but either way, from the standpoint of the relationships, the alumni network, so on and so forth, it is very deep. And I want to point out on this picture, you see it's the matriculation book.
So which one's up right now? I've got so many pictures.
Right there.
That one's up.
Okay.
Yes.
So the matriculation book, she's signing her name that she's matriculating there. And some of the interesting features about that is that that's a book that is old. And they have all the historical matriculation books. This is one of those traditions that student after student has gone through. I was able to pull up here, and what you're seeing, this is individuals who actually were cadets at VMI. Those cadets then actually went and fought in the Civil War.
And died
in the Civil War. It was the Battle of Newmarket that they participated in. So she's not just kind of a student as far as the experience of EMI. She's, in a way, kind of a participant in the history that has shaped the school.
The number of military leaders that you know and can call in your head through the history of the last 100+ years, a great number of them came through VMI.
Well, yeah,
Marshall of like the Marshall Plan.
Current governor of Virginia, he is an alum from VMI. So there's a lot of people politically in the military, historical figures who all owe their heritage in their training to VMI. So this is just kind of those interesting things that when you are in the Commonwealth of Virginia, for example, history is literally all around you. And so it's always kind of intriguing. And it's moments like this where our daughter's kind of joining the names of, prominent people in American history that sometimes, you kind of take it for granted. But when you see it and experience it up close and personal like this, it kind of reminds you how cool all of this stuff can be.
It's part of what drew us to Virginia, actually.
Very much so.
That history, that sense of lineage and,
Well, as I've said, Virginia history is American history, and so it's kind of intriguing. So after we go through the matriculation, the fun began for me. The way the barracks are set up at VMI, when you first come in and you're a rat, you live on the 4th floor. The next year you move to the 3rd floor. The next year, 2nd floor, and your final year, you're on the ground floor, so you don't have to truck up all of these stairs. Well, as someone who had to help my daughter bring all of her things in, mind you, there's no elevator.
And no air conditioning.
Yeah, and it was a hot, humid Lexington, Virginia day. Thank goodness I had this very youthful and vigorous young man who was willing to help carry some of Io's stuff.
In fairness, though, I mean, for a kid moving into college, she had almost nothing compared to what most kids do.
Yeah, basically
because they
2
strip
bins.
it down. Here's what you may bring. Here's what you shall bring, and anything else is verboten.
Yeah, simply not allowed. So we had our bins to take up, her trunk to take up, a few bedding items to take up. But after 4 flights of stairs, let's just say that's where the reality of the day began to kick in, because I started sweating then, and then it never stopped. So this is a picture of her from the top floor in her room. The time frame between when she was at the barracks to here, basically maybe 3-4 hours of us going from one building to check in, to sign up, to get things,
to go to our major, to check out the chaplain, and all these various things.
You're going one building to the next, to the next, to the next. Tamara wore nice shoes.
I wore heels. Not a good idea.
Not the best option. So for the women out there,
flats.
Go with the flats. Go with
tank
the
top.
Sneakers.
Shorts.
Yes.
Hair in a ponytail. Forget the makeup. It'll be gone within an hour.
Be prepared to truck around with your soon-to-be rat. Because it was something that took us from one side of the campus to the other.
And it's all on a hill.
Yeah.
You're either going up a stair or you're going down a stair.
It is. Beautiful.
So what you're seeing there is after we have all said our final goodbyes. We actually took time to have a long goodbye before we even entered that auditorium, because we knew that once they start calling your group, kids are coming up out of all of the seats and running down and lining up into those little different groups. There are
companies.
There's companies A through I.
And then band.
And then the band has its own company. That's
correct.
True. And then they're lining up, and the cadre is there, and they're shouting out names, and they're just, I mean, it's already, and how they move is just so precision. It's just beautiful to watch how cadre moves, and the thought of the fact that all those rats are going to be doing the same thing in about another 7-8 months is really very, very impressive.
It's also interesting because as each of the companies are forming up, there's this giddiness that you have that, it is a very unique experience, very powerful, very moving. You see, young people whose lives are about to be changed forever, weeping, moms weeping, dads choking up, because their pride and joy is about to go through a life transformative
and just the
experience.
Swell of emotion from everyone else too. It's a transformational kind of an event.
Yeah, very emotional. Even I may have choked up just slightly. But it's something that, is cool. That's the only way I can describe it. Because you're watching them, and I think more importantly for Io, she wants this. And to see that kind of excitement and that energy and just really chomping at the bit to go and commit herself to this.
I have never seen her this excited to do something ever in my life.
And all the other young people are exhibiting that same just kind of core commitment. This is not a school for people who are uncertain about what they want out of life, who they are.
Make it through the first 8 days.
Correct. If you're not committed, this is not the environment for you. A lot of these folks will go on to have active careers in the military. Those that don't commission and become officers in the military, they go on to pursue business. They go on to pursue engineering. These are often professionally minded people who have very real and serious expectations for themselves. But it's this initial moment that kind of captures them. Tamara was talking about the cadre. Their leaders literally come up, and you can kind of make out everybody in the blue.
White pants. Navy blue or
they
gray blue.
Are literally stepping up and announcing that they're committed to making your son or daughter a cadet. And they take it very, very seriously. It's not something that they themselves are kidding about or joking about. There's no sense of humor about this. Not as if they're morose or angry or frustrated. They're just resolved.
I'm so and so of company whatever, and I'm here to care for and guide your student into
your son or
whatever
daughter.
Your son or daughter.
Yes.
So it's a balance of care for and train and
discipline.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Okay, so before we get to this scene, though, they left the auditorium, and with the bagpipes a-blaring, one company at a time, they march out the door, out into the middle of the street, down the road, up the side of the campus, because again, everything's either up or it's down in this campus, around and around, and finally they get to the main area where there's this huge parade ground, and there's all the barracks. There's 3 barracks.
All the parents have ran up the hillside.
Yeah, we're trying to book
point.
up all the other ways. I think there's a video on Facebook, and I was so out of breath that it was ridiculous. But I made it. I made it before she got behind these gates, because once they walk into those gates, you hear those gates close. And when they're inside,
they're literally locked in.
They're being. Did you put any of the pictures up of what happens on the inside?
Yes.
Okay, well, that should be the next one.
No, they have to see. Those are the parents. This is a picture from the inside. Of the
parents being
looking
shut out.
This is the parents being shut out, and the gates literally locked because your son or daughter is not yours anymore. It is theirs.
Shouting and screaming, and you see kids running to try and get into the right place, and you see cadre yelling and shouting this way and up in their faces and shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting, and it was just like
very much so.
Had I not been prepared for that by watching numerous videos in advance, I would have been horrified and climbing the fence.
Yeah, i.e. why they lock it.
Yeah.
But at this point, your son or daughter is no longer yours. They are
their own.
They've taken an oath. They do that after they form up in their company, and now they are on the first step of the rest of their career with VMI. Very quickly, you see that they are immediately focused on disciplining them and ensuring that they learn kind of the core composure that they're to maintain, what orders they are to follow, what the implications of those orders are. This is also, I like this picture because you can see the aesthetic of VMI. It is very much akin almost to kind of a medieval castle. But it's got its own beauty. But they are no fuss, no muss. It's very much, they call it post. They're treating it as a military installation. In their minds, something to be defended and honored. So it's very cool, but you can see they jump right on them and ensure that they get here into not only shape, formation, but the goal is to take them from just a kid or a student and make them military ready. Physically,
absolutely,
emotionally, and in a way spiritually. It takes a certain resolve, but our daughter was able to call us because there's no contact with them.
No phone, everything. Their phones
their cell phones
away,
are
their
taken.
Watches are taken.
Their watches are taken.
And if they're given back, they're at a different time, so they have no concept of time because they're being woken up when it's dark. They're being shouted out, all sorts of times just to, discombobulate and see how well they handle themselves throughout
Correct.
it all. This one particularly is getting them ready for the crucible, which is what they call the very last day, which is Sunday. So if everybody's out there, if y'all just say a prayer for all the rats, Sunday is the day they go through the crucible, which is just, everything all at once.
They're basically giving what's left in them. They're sleep deprived. They've been pushed physically. They're running everywhere.
Up and down hills.
They're being told how to sit, how to stand, where to stand, how to eat.
There is no time off. There is no time, no break away from it. Even when they're sitting and eating at their lunch, there is no conversation. How the hand goes up is this. And they're reading their rap books and memorizing their rap books. And they are being shouted at every turn, especially at meals, I've heard. Especially at meals. So and they're to maintain that composure and keep moving through.
Correct.
And it's astounding to watch.
Yeah. Our daughter, she was given like a 3 or 4 minute call. She was hoarse.
Yeah.
You could tell that
she was so excited.
Yeah, she was resolute, which was very cool. As a parent, you hope your child's prepared. You want them to be prepared. But for purposes of knowing, it's very, very different when you realize that they're going through experiences that at least Tamara and I have never been through personally, that are very unique to them, and things that will be definitive of their character, their sense of self, their expectations for themselves, not just today, but for their future. If you know that you can do this, you're capable of ideally great things.
And there are kids who haven't been able to make it thus far. There's been a few that have just said this isn't for me. There's been several that have been injured, and a couple for whom we're praying for because that are very seriously injured in the hospital, and so it's not easy.
It's not for the faint of heart, to say the least. You are tested in the end. Think about what it is. Mind you, never mind the fact that they're literally called rats. For 7 months at a minimum. This is basically sanctioned hazing. You agree to submit to whatever's asked of you. Now, they don't get to beat you. They
cannot touch you.
Yeah, they can't punch you in the gut and kick you around physically. But verbally, emotionally, and then kind of the logistics of your day are set up to test you to the fullest. And so we'll probably do some additional updates because I think, again, this is good for people who are wondering what VMI is about, parents who might be thinking about sending a son or daughter there. It's unique. It's very unique.
VMI posts its pictures online if you're ever just curious to go find them. They put them up publicly. They think they have an Instagram account. They have a Flickr account.
They've gotten with the
modern media. They've got some outstanding cadets who are taking the pictures too. Some of these pictures are just beautiful. So.
Well, I'm excited we'll do updates.
Yes, so prayers on Saturday night for a good, strong Sunday. And
correct.
And Rava Mill.
Yeah, she's gone all in.
Oh,
we have football
I'm ordering
tickets.
Flags. We're going to be doing tailgating. I've never tailgated in my life. I'm all about this. I missed the senior year. I'm making up for it with the whole college thing. So,
we'll be up at VMI a fair amount, and we'll take pictures and kind of educate as we ourselves learn about the experience of VMI from at least a parent's standpoint. And the cool thing is that the alumni network, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is very deep, very strong. So there are other parents who've been through this before. There's families where it's like, great-granddad went there, grandfather went there, dad went there, uncle went there,
daughters
are
going there now.
It's a generational institution. So
and there's Facebook pages for all the parents that have been hugely helpful in knowing, what is this, what is that, what does this word mean? Why is my child called a rat? That was a big one.